What's up, everybody? So it looks like we're only live on YouTube. As you can see, I've got a sign up here. It's like a Pardes live sign, and it's only visible backwards. I think it's only visible backwards. I'm just gonna double check. But every time I like move anything on this table, the camera shakes. Let's see. We're live. Yes, we are. And I actually was gonna make this topic into a video, like an edited video, but I just made it on YouTube. What up, Henry? Hey. What's up, Henry? Thank you. What's the name of this live stream even? Why I didn't delete my old live streams? Because I have put some of my old live streams on private. Like I haven't deleted my live streams, but I have put a lot of them on private. And I'm going to take them off private. I already took some of them off private. I don't know if you're a subscriber, you can kind of tell if it's on private or not. If like you get notifications if I take it off private and I put it on, public. What a prodigal heel. By the way, thanks so much for your comments. I was reading them the other day on my other video, and it was really helpful. And I watched some of your videos. I think I subscribed to your channel, but if I haven't, I'm just gonna double check. So everyone subscribe to Prodigal Heel on YouTube. He makes videos, and they're interesting. Talks about like a lot of interesting and relevant topics. And what up, Rosemary? Okay, so I'm just gonna share this on YouTube. Orangina says, please recognize anti-Semitism as it exists on your side chat and in your fan base. Do not ignore the anti-Semitism and conspiracy theories for the greater good of your libertarian ideology. Okay. So I have a very interesting, I'm interested in talking about anti-Semitism because I think it's something that is talked about a lot, so that makes it relevant. But anti-Semitism itself, I don't see it as a huge relevant thing, because I just see it as way hyped up. Like, it's hyped up way more than it actually exists. And I think the concept of anti-Semitism is used a lot to push like a tribalist mentality, and also it's used a lot by organizations to try and get money from Jewish donors. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist and that your fears are not valid, but I think that, but I don't think it's as bad. I think a lot of times when people are saying like Jew jokes and like being anti-Semitic, I think a lot of it is trolling. Like, a lot of it is just for the feeling of like the thrill, because people are get so butthurt about it because it's made into a much bigger issue than it is. Because, like, thanks, Nate. Yeah, because the ADL is the biggest cause of anti-Semitism. I agree. And because the ADL actually makes money from anti-Semitism, or the idea of anti-Semitism existing. So thank you, Josh and Jesus, the super chat. Thank you so much. Sub. I want to share this on. Should I share this on Twitter? I don't even know if I should share this on Twitter. I've just been feeling a little bit like down on Twitter lately. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like everyone's like very upset, including myself. When I'm on Twitter, I get really upset. And I know that that's where most of the people who follow me are. They're on Twitter. But I don't know. Hey, Jim. Jim Kirk says, hello, Pardes. Hello, everybody. Did everyone hit the like button for Pardes? Thanks. So Josh and Jesus says, you should tell your fans about the deleted comments. So I see your comments right now in the live chat, but sometimes Josh comments in the comment section after the video, and so I get the notification, but I don't see the actual comment. Like when I go back and check, it doesn't show up in the timeline. And so sometimes YouTube actually like censors the comments in the chat. But I'm gonna pull it up right now so that if there are any comments that aren't showing up while the live stream is happening, I'll make it public. 1 second. Aren't showing up. Ah! Oh yeah. What's up? Okay, this is awesome. Do you like my wall, by the way? I'm so like frustrated today and very not. It was really hard to set up this live stream because there's just so many there's so much happening in the house that I'm in. I'm in a house with my family, and I love my family so much, like so much, and they're great, but it's just so loud, and there's a lot of things going on, and people screaming and crying and telling loud stories, and this house is under construction. Because of COVID, there isn't a lot that we were able to, they weren't able to do a lot, and they basically put hold on everything. So right now it's like a construction bubble. The walls aren't complete, so there's like so much sound going through, and then on top of that there isn't a lot of organization, so it's just kind of like chaotic, and it's really hard for me to focus on anything because I keep hearing my name. I don't know if you can hear it, but I keep hearing it. I keep hearing my name. It's like, oh, someone's saying something and they're mentioning me, or someone like just came, like a guest or something, and they're like, oh yeah, I came to see Pardes. Dude, I'm in the middle of a live stream. But of course nobody sees a live stream as like a real job, so they don't care. Mongolians. Hey, thank you so much, Pardes family. Person who's pretending to be Pardes family says we be loud. So Paul, when I try to, Paul commented and your comment is censored and it doesn't let me uncensor it. Sorry, it says error, try again. Every time I try to uncensor your comment. So Paul's comment was Mongolians tear down shitty wall. Shitty wall. It's a big, beautiful wall. Josh asks, who's your favorite out of all the girls that originally started the young conservative female movement? I.e. Brittany Pettibone, Lauren Southern, Roaming Millennial, etc. Lauren Chen, Ashton Whitty, Cassandra Fairbanks, Cassie Dillon, Bridget Fedesi. There's so many. I'm gonna think of them. Bridget Fedesi, Sydney Watson, the Australian girl. There's definitely some that I'll think about. Lauren Southern, I think, is really cool because she just accomplished a lot, and it's really interesting to watch. Like, I think that the quality of the stuff that she's produced is my favorite. I really like the quality. Oh, Candace Owens. I love Candace Owens. Candace Owens, to me, is the most... Whew, there's so many notifications on my phone. Dude. Nate Mark says, Hillary Baldwin is pretending to be Latina like you. Haha. Yeah, Josh, your last comment showed up. Yes, I think. Okay, so... Okay. Thanks for super chat, wall behind Pardes. Some say I'm dumb as bricks. Okay, so Nate says Ashton Birdie's a whack job. So sometimes I'm actually really good friends with Ashton. I actually became really good friends with her since the last time we had a live stream, which was the first time we ever had a live stream. And we've talked before, but we never really were super close. Like, we talk. The thing with Ashton is that she gets very, very close very quickly to people. She opens herself up very quickly. So even if she doesn't know you so well, she'll like tell you everything, and which is, to me, I think that's very cool. And I think, unfortunately, when you're like that in politics, and especially with a lot of older people, like people who are older than you and don't have your best interest in mind, or like don't like you very much, if you're like that with them, they can use that against you and make you think you're crazy and tell you you're crazy. And when you're as young as Ashton, and when you're as susceptible and open and trusting as Ashton, when people who are older like that and know your stuff are telling you that you're crazy, you're gonna feel crazy. And when people feel crazy, they act crazy. Like, I actually don't think that Ashton is crazy. I think that Ashton is reacting the way that a lot of people in her situation would have reacted. I mean, she's fine now. I shouldn't be talking about her so much on this stream, but I think that and I think it's like this with a lot of things, you can't be canceled if you don't allow yourself to be canceled. If you don't think you're crazy, deep down you don't really think you're crazy, calm down. You're not crazy, and just know that other people in your situation would have reacted the same way, possibly. Wally World says Bridget Fetisi is not a conservative, but you should go on her podcast. Nate, I would love to. I would love to go on Bridget's podcast. Honestly, I feel like I've known so many people for so long, and I feel kind of like I don't, and this is just me getting in my head about it, but I feel like I've been in this industry for so long and I haven't really shut up. I know that this is going to be big. It already is big for me. Like, I have everything I need. I have all the people that I care about watching. I didn't even advertise this on Twitter, by the way. Although maybe I should tell people on Twitter. We are live on YouTube, by the way. This person, this super chat, you're so funny. This person in the super chat says other people in your situation would have done the same thing. Yes. This is so funny. Yeah, it's also easier that I'm just on YouTube. Like, being exclusive. What up, Kelly? Kelly, I got your Christmas letter and I loved it so much, and I was showing it to everybody and I was so excited. I was like, thank you so much. I meant to call you. I really, really enjoyed it. Okay. And you know what? Kelly is going to be on my live stream. I haven't set a time and date yet, but so Kelly, I think, is more like me. We didn't mention Kelly, but Kelly Campagna, if you're on Twitter, go and follow her, Kelly Campagna. I think a lot of it has to, yeah, anyway. I'm juggling a few different topics, but there's two types of people in this media sphere. There are the people who blow up overnight. Like, they're the people who, they just started doing it. They just got into this conservative media thing, and then they had so much confidence from the get-go. They were like huge from the get-go, and they got a ton of person in super chats says Kelly's Christmas letter says Pardes loves me, haha. But I feel like there's two types of people. There are the people who are already big, and they're big straight from the get-go because they're just so confident, and they're just like boom boom boom. And then there are the people who they're not big from the get-go, either because the quality in the beginning isn't so good, and I'm being nice here, some people's quality from the beginning is terrible, like mine, haha, or they're just not so good on camera, or they just simply lack confidence. And that's a huge deal when you're starting out. When you lack confidence, it like affects a lot of your stuff. Or they just haven't been watched by enough people, and haven't been given the big break by enough people who've seen their things. So I think a lot of people fall into that category, and I think I fall into that category with my video stuff. I think that and that's, by the way, what the topic of this live stream is, why I haven't deleted my old why I'm not deleting my old live streams. Henry, thank you so much. Henry gave me a super chat. Thank you so much. It's a British super chat. Thank you. That's really sweet. And Henry's gonna Henry's doing some big things. And so Nate says you should interview Faith Goldie. I'll do that. I'm gonna put them on the list. Faith Goldie and Brittany Pettibone and Bridget Fedesi. If you can remind, I know this is kind of annoying for me to ask you, but because I don't have my, actually here, I'm gonna write it down. But feel free to like DM me, guys, just to remind me like the names of the people that we talked about. So we got Bridget Fedesi, Brittany Pettibone, Laura Loomer, Faith Goldie. Oh, and Candace Owens. I doubt Candace Owens would come on here, but we can try. Candace is someone who got big overnight, but and I think that has to do with her incredible confidence. She has like incredible confidence. But for me, I see myself as more along the lines of people like Kelly Campagna. What's the guy's name? Zuby, Anomaly. Like, these are people that are huge, and they've got huge followings, but their fan base is very dedicated. Their fan base is more, it's a little bit more stable also, because they've been building this up over time, over like years. I mean, I was looking at Anomaly's old videos. He's been doing this for 12 years. His first YouTube video I was looking at his old channel. His first video on that channel was uploaded 12 years ago. And that was really interesting to me, because at first it didn't make sense to me that he has so many insanely dedicated fans and not a ton of haters. Like, I was like, whoa, the stuff he says on here is kind of controversial and whatever. He gets really frustrated with his haters, but when I looked at his old stuff, I realized that he leaves it all on there. He leaves up his old stuff, his old videos. So you can tell that this guy, it wasn't like an overnight thing. This guy has been building this up for years. And the normal person, like a typical person in that situation, what up, Henry? I see you in Discord. A typical person in that situation would say, hey, you're nothing big. Your live streams are stupid. They're not getting you the kind of feedback that these other big people live streams are getting. So maybe you should just stop. But those people just kept doing it. And I think that's all you need, is you just got to keep going. And it doesn't matter if you're in a house with like a ton of noisy people and you don't have like a normal background, or you don't have, and I'm telling this mostly to myself, like it doesn't matter what you have. I mean, if your goal is to live stream, to like come on here and hang out, have your friends here, and just keep being consistent, then you just gotta do it. Who cares what the timeline is, basically? Does that make sense? A typical person in that situation in the super chat says, I'd say you're not that big. I know you'd say that, but oh yeah, you're just making fun of me. Haha. Thank you so much for the super chat. Stefan says, I'll try that. I might have to get a VPN. Rosemary says, you should interview Sorella more. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you know this, but I think you know this, because we talked about this on the phone a couple times. I'm a huge fan of Sorella Moore. Huge. She's so cool to me. Like, I want to be like her. I'm gonna write this down. Sorella Moore, if you don't know, she's like this YouTuber person. She travels a lot. She just bought her own place in Iceland. Sorella Moore, and someone said Blair White. I'm gonna try and get Blair White on here. Guys, guess who's coming tomorrow? Bum ba dum bum bum. Guess who's gonna be here tomorrow? Count Dankula. Count Dankula from Scotland. He's the guy who he's a guy who trained his pug to do this, if you know what I mean. And actually it was his girlfriend's pug, and he went to jail for that, which was insane. But anyways, we'll hear it from him. It was really funny. Anyway. Oh, Dean Cain. Henry says, what is going on with all the donuts? Jason says, Pardes is big. Interview Jason Richard Levy. Jason is big. Jason, oh, Pardes, thank you. Yeah, Count Dracula. Okay. Do you hear like everyone? Do you hear everyone that's talking on the side? I hear them. The guy on InfoWars, someone says. Interview salty cracker. Oh, you know what? I'll tell him to bring the pug on. The pug. You hear all the background noise. Great. So anyway, that's what I would rather be. I'd rather not be the person who blew up overnight. I'd rather be the person who has been doing this for the past 12 years or whatever. And it sounds kind of depressing, but it's a little bit more stable, because I mean, those are the kind of people that you want watching your stream. The kind of people who have been watching for a while and are like kind of you get to like, it's like a community almost. You start to watch their stuff and you kind of grow as a community. Like, I want other people. I want the people who watch these live streams. Like, I want you guys. And I'm actually friends with, like, a lot of people in this chat I'm close friends with. Close friends. Like, I talked to Rosemary. I talked to Jason. I talked to Henry. Like, there's so many... There's, like... This isn't, like... a chat that just blew up and it's just a ton of strangers I don't know. I actually know the people in this stream, and like, I want people in my stream to start doing their own streams, and so that there's kind of like a community, and that kind of thing doesn't really happen overnight. That's the kind of thing that happens over like years. And Jason says, I blew up overnight and they canceled me. Yeah, I remember that. And because of that, I feel like you're too afraid to I know you're not afraid, but I think you're hesitant to get back on there and do the thing that you're really good at. Jason, I don't know if you guys remember, but Jason was a huge character on Twitter. And he'll like post selfies with every, like he'll say a line and whatever, like he'll tweet something and he'll post like selfie with each tweet. And it was kind of like funny and crazy and fun. Like it like the kind of reactions it got were crazy. Like people would get really mad, people would get really emotional over these tweets, and that was the whole funny thing that especially, I don't know, I don't want to say the whole thing. I'll save it for a live stream. But Jason blew up, and he got a lot of hate. And I think, and that's what happens usually when you blow up overnight. People don't know you, so they just they'll just pile on, and I think that's part of why it, like, sometimes it's hard for that to happen. Jason says, "I'm not afraid, I'm smart, I lost my real name. I ain't gonna lose my stage name too." Okay, I get you. Prodigal Heel says, "I like it, an independent YouTube community. Dark Horse and myself were trying to start something like that." Oh, that's cool. I didn't know, I'm gonna look up who Dark Horse is. But I agree, and yeah, independent YouTube community. And even if people get banned from YouTube, because I know some of you are getting at least censored from YouTube, and I know Prodigal Heel also. So even if you're getting banned from YouTube, I want to be able to have all those people in my network so that when they get banned from YouTube, they can go on an alternative platform and we can all slowly join that platform too. That's why I like to multi-stream, because multi-streaming allows us to be in multiple platforms and still be a family. The reason why I give a lot of crap to people on Periscope is because Periscope is just Twitter people, the people that are left on Twitter. It's a totally different environment. A lot of the people who are here on YouTube have been banned from Twitter, and the people who have stayed on Twitter, a lot of them are just there to hate. Not everybody, but that's why I kind of give shit to people who are on Periscope, because those are the Twitter people. And on top of that, Periscope is going to disappear in a few months. They're not making money from Periscope. We're not making money from Periscope, so they're not making money from, Twitter's not making money from Periscope. It's just a dying business model. And I also want to find a way for myself and for you guys who are interested in live streaming to figure out to constantly be looking for the most efficient way of monetizing what we're doing. It's creating this online community and monetizing it. Because I think if you watched my Black Pilled video, and I'm not just saying this is like my kooky way of thinking. I actually think that there could be one day when we rely on this because of everything that's happening. Like, I hope it's not true, but it will be nice to have as a backup. It would be very nice to have this, what we're building, kind of as a backup. Anna White, thank you so much for joining, Anna White. My friend Anna White is on here. She says, slow and steady, the Bible talks about, too, how it's better to gain wealth over time rather than overnight, and you could liken a following to that, too. I totally agree. That's like the perfect analogy. Wealth and followers. I mean, followers are it's like a currency, people who hit the subscribe button. So, like, I think that's a perfect analogy. It getting like 10 grand overnight or 20 or 30 grand overnight instead of over like a few weeks or months, it's a huge difference. I mean, you're more likely to blow it up the money right away if you get it all at once. and then be broke and then have all these high hopes. There's so many psychological effects that comes with that. Jim says, BitChute, Odyssey, DLive. Which one is your favorite? A lot of people are going on censor.tv. I was wondering if I should go on censor.tv. I don't know. Josh says Twitter is just a leftist garbage dump. Jason says Periscopers are freeloaders. I already feel so happy that I'm not on Periscope tonight. Alvia says, do they really censor these comments? So I don't think that there's a person doing that, like sitting and being like, I want to censor this person's comment. I think it's an algorithm, and sometimes if you're on their radar, they'll set it so that the algorithm targets your stuff. Henry is going to be on Twitch soon. Henry, put your Twitch handle in this, but actually don't do it in the middle of this. Don't tell people to leave in the middle of this live stream. But if you're going live, put your handle. Henry is the British kid, and he's genius, and he builds things. I mean by things I mean he can build like actual games on computers. Anyway, put your handle in this comment so people can follow you on Twitch and they know when you're going live. So do that. Jim says Dr. Pardes rocks, Dr. Fauci sucks. I was gonna talk about the COVID vaccine tonight because I was kind of worried about everything that was being talked about, but I was also amazed at some of the things. Anyway, this COVID vaccine, a lot of people are afraid of taking it, and then other people are like, you have to get the vaccine. I'm not either or. I'm not gonna not take it, and I'm not like trying to be the first person to take it. I am gonna wait, and I want to read more about this vaccine because it's really different from other vaccines. It is an mRNA vaccine, which basically it's not like it's a kind of vaccine that it's supposed to cause an RNA like chain reaction in your cells. It's supposed to like basically modify your cells. Like it's supposed to cause your cells to modify themselves. I don't even know if I'm making sense. To have the COVID antibodies, which is actually pretty cool because if you can modify all the cells in your body, if that's something that's possible, then there's so many things you can do. You can cure cancer that way. You can, if you have the BRCA gene that causes breast cancer, you can modify all the cells in your body with an mRNA vaccine to take out the BRCA vaccine instead of going and getting a mastectomy and taking out your boobs. There's so many things you can do, but it's also very scary because what about all the other things that it could change? I don't know, but I think it's cool. Like this is a cool new era for science, and it's cool to see what can happen when the FDA doesn't get in the way of things. Rosemary says Pardes is building her empire brick by brick. Yes. Thanks, Rosemary. And Rosemary has been here from the beginning. Like, I remember Rosemary from years ago, I think. Prodigal Heel says, I'm not screwing with my RNA. Me neither for now. I think I don't need a vaccine. Like, at this point, I'd rather get COVID than screw with my body in that way if I can help it. But I mean, eventually I want to learn more about it, and I want to learn about how it can help me. Yeah, so I'm not ruling out COVID vaccine or any vaccine. I think it's good to have vaccines. Vaccines are supposed to help you build your immune system. With this one, I'm gonna wait a tiny bit. Yes, gonna wait. What does it say? Russian person in the chat says, I am vaccinated by Sputnik V. Since 29th of September and 20th of October, 2 shots required, feel good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you feel good. Wally World says, at least wait until the J&J vax comes out. It's like an old school vax. Haha. Pelosi would look good with facial paralysis. Hilarious. Haha. And wait. Henry says, I don't get you Americans. It's just drugs to save lives. I don't get you Brit Bongs. You just like being controlled by the government and being told what to do. JK, I'm messing with you. But I do actually think that people in the UK are much more likely to accept things that the government tells them to do, because that's like, I don't care. I'm not anti-vax. I just told you how I feel about it. And I think people are just in general afraid of new things. You can't blame them. You can't blame me for being wary of something that's so new and different. And just a tiny bit cautious. But I also don't think that... I'm not like against vaccine. I'm pro-vaccines. I am pro-vaccines. They help you build your immune system. But I also don't think that it should be mandatory. And I think if it's mandatory, that's a very, very bad sign. Like, especially if it's mandatory by the government, that's a very bad sign. And especially, you know, if you look at history, the things that have been mandatory by the government, I don't think that that makes me want to take the vaccine anymore. Anna says, I'm in the middle too. I'm pro-vaccine. I think vaccine can save lives. For some reason, though, I have some leeriness about this. Yeah, I mean, if they're sending an mRNA that's going to go in your body and it's going to cause a chain reaction that causes every single cell in your body to, like, change their DNA composition, to change their own, like, it basically causes your genes to, like, mutate themselves. How do we know? I mean, they haven't been honest with us from the get-go. Dr. Fauci has not been honest with us from the get-go. None of these people have been honest from the get-go. It's been all about controlling these stupid Americans that are stupid, that don't listen, that are silly hillbilly, like, people that they just don't listen to the adults. So that's been the kind of people that are pushing this. Why would I trust them? How do I know that there isn't some other change that's going to come from this? I mean, the people who invested in this vaccine are also the people who invested in population control. And they believe that population control is necessary for the good of the environment. They believe that you need to control, you need to try and sterilize as many people as possible. And they do believe in sterilizing people. Like, they believe that they're doing something good for the environment. They don't believe in the good of humanity. They're not human-centric. It's called anthropocentric. They're not anthropocentric. They are, what is it when they believe that Earth is first? Like, I think you should care about the environment, but I'm not going to listen to anything you say if you care more about the environment than you care about humans. And also, by the way, caring about humans is good for the environment. Humans, unless you live around commies, unless you live around communists, humans are good for the environment. Human labor, people who work hard and care about their own land and take care of themselves, those people are good for the environment. People who are going to work the land, and they're not just going to, like, defer to leadership. Those are the kind of people that are good for the environment. So people who are gonna milk, if like, you see people complaining about, oh, these poor cows, they're being domesticated by these, like, humans, these evil humans. If cows weren't domesticated by humans, there would be a lot fewer of them. They wouldn't be, there's a lot of, and not even cows, but in general, like, a lot of animal species go extinct over time. It's very normal and common. The climate changes constantly. There's so many, like, things that happen to different organisms in life that, and a lot of these aspects of nature are actually being preserved because of humans. So people who say that humans existing is, like, bad for the environment and for nature are stupid. By the way, Anna, how are you doing? Anna's got a lot of experience with meds because she works in the field of psychology. So I sometimes ask her about stuff like that. I've had some, like, bad experiences with, I went to a psychiatrist for the first time last year. I don't remember if I made a video about this. Maybe I'll talk about it in a video, but it wasn't a good experience. I was very, very eager. Yeah, post the Discord link in the chat, Henry. And I'll tell you about that. But I was very eager to have, I was very eager to go to a psychiatrist for the first time. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling whatever. And so, like, I told him things that I was feeling. I had 15 minutes with this guy. He was supposedly a top psychiatrist in Washington, D.C. I had 15 minutes with this guy. He was very quick, barely had time to talk. He charged me $270 just for that 15 minutes talking to him. And he barely, Henry, it doesn't let you post. Thank you. So, it doesn't let me post. So, Henry, I'm gonna include it in the description link. 1 second. So if you're on Twitter, alright, if you're on Twitter, join me on Discord. Alrighty. What just happened? Do you see this link on Discord? I mean, do you see this link in the description? Pardes psychiatrist thanks for the super chat. It says I was just trying to figure out a way to ask Pardes out. Haha. So anyway, all right. So I'm telling you a story. So every problem that I had, he just had another like really heavy medication for me. I was like, oh, I'm feeling anxious. He'd be like, okay, here's this medicine, here's that medicine. And he just kept prescribing meds. And, like, I didn't understand how it works. Later on, I realized that you're not supposed to say, you're supposed, for your issues, if you want to talk about your issues, you're supposed to go to a psychologist. If you already know what your problem is, if you already know what your problem is, then and you already know exactly what you need, that's when you should go and see a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are good for nothing, in my opinion. They're really good for nothing other than, according to the law, they're the ones that can prescribe you meds. But you need to go to a psychiatrist already knowing what you want. Because anyway, so I go there and I have like a whole list of feelings that I'm feeling. And he gave me just like so many really, really heavy prescriptions. I didn't know what any of these things were, and I started taking them. And like I called my cousin who's a pharmacist, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm taking this medication. For some reason, I just got knocked out. I just took one pill and it knocked me out completely. And she's like, oh, you took this thing? Oh, this thing is what they give to people in like psych wards, in mental hospitals. Like to control it, to like keep them from beating the shit out of someone. Like, were you really that bad? And obviously I wasn't, but I think that I don't even know how I got on this topic. But anyway, I was having some of these experiences, and I asked, I was asking Anna what she thought. Anna says medication stabilization is their expertise in my state. They do well with acute psychosis stabilization, which is what I worked in. Jim says drugs are bad, okay? Haha. And it says, I'm sorry that was your experience. Unfortunately, a lot of psychiatrists have huge egos. Counselors, while they can prescribe, are often more personable. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like... And then I talk to friends. I have so many friends who are on like just like a list of medications. And a lot of them I don't think need... I think a lot of them don't actually need those things. I mean, maybe it helps them in the short term, but most issues I think are solvable by life circumstances, by fixing your mindset, by talking things out is a meme, but I think a lot of issues come from somewhere, and often it's not just like a biological thing. So maybe it helps, but if you really want to get to the root of the issue, I think like drugs should be the last resort, I think. There are some groups of people that are objectively happier than other groups. We're not living in a society where like everybody's the same. And if you're feeling a little up or down, it's because there's something wrong with your genetics. There are objectively better, healthier lifestyles. Objectively, some groups of people. One of my he was like kind of like a mentor at UCLA. He was a professor also, and he conducted a whole study on Mormons and how Mormons who live in Utah, like religious LDS Mormons, have a much higher level of health. Like they have much lower levels of cancer. Mental health is something that it's hard to tell who has more mental health issues, but that was like a side thing. So he conducts this study, and he attributes it to their lifestyle, and kind of like in the discussion he attributes it to their lifestyle. Part of the observation was, yeah, these guys, they don't smoke, they don't have caffeine, they don't drink, they live in communities, they all have their friends and family nearby, they get married relatively younger, they have a lot of kids. So there's a lot of things about the Mormon lifestyle that causes for like healthier life, and objectively they have healthier lifestyle, and it's fine to say that. It doesn't necessarily make you genetically different. It means that if you follow that kind of lifestyle, you might also have a higher. So I think that a lot of issues are fixable. Sorry. I just like anyway, that professor actually got fired from UCLA. It was a whole thing. It was all over the news. They got him in trouble, and he was tenured, and somehow he managed to get back. But and that was like after a ton of like lawsuits, and it was like, I think on as a total 6 years he was out fighting this lawsuit and trying to get his job back. He's kind of older anyway. But let's see. They have a very hard job. Mental health system in America is broken. I can fix it. Jason, I think you should be a psychiatrist. I'm not even joking. I think you should be a psychiatrist and try to fix the system from the inside. Prodigal Heel says, why would I see a psychiatrist for $300? I can get a dime bag for $20. Yeah, Stefan, they have a lot of power to ruin lives. Yes. Prodigal Heel says, I think a lot of Pardes is anxiety. You can help anxiety and depression with dietary supplements. I agree. I think, yeah, for me, a lot of my issues, it's like anxiety and depression, where I'm depressed, and it's definitely gotten better now, and I think that's thanks to my lifestyle, because I'm not taking any meds. So I know that there's something else that is not biological that I could have had more control over, which I do. So, like, yeah, I think a lot of times, by the way, people don't like the idea of that they can control it, because then it's like much, then you're just like, oh, how can I, like, people like resting on the idea that it's out of their control. So for me, my issue is fluctuating between depression and anxiety. I need to have a lot to keep me busy in order to not feel depressed and unfulfilled. But then I get really anxious because I have so much going on. So today was actually really cool, because today I kind of told myself that I'm going to take a more chill day. I'm not going to go crazy. And this live stream, I actually was going to make it like a whole research focused thing and whatever. And then I was like, you know what? That's not what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what I think I'm supposed to accomplish. What I'm trying to accomplish really is just to create an online community with, and so my community is still going to be here online. Whether or not I bring up statistics about the benefits of Pfizer versus Moderna versus that other Astro, whatever the vaccine brand is, because who cares? Those stuff are going to be gone soon. Let's see. Jim says talking it away helps. Keeping all your worries bottled up inside only makes it worse. Josh says, do you follow the teachings of Maimonides? I haven't been studying. Ever since I stopped being religious, I completely stopped reading anything to do with religion, and that includes like Bible related stuff, any commentators or anything. And I'm thinking maybe there are a lot of things that were interesting and had a lot of just life influence that weren't just religious stuff, that maybe I could benefit from getting back into. So maybe I'll try to get back into it, study Maimonides, study, like, there's another, there are a few other commentators that I really liked when I was like, yeah, there are a few other commentators, biblical scholarly commentators that I really liked. So maybe I'll start getting back into those. Yeah. From what is Stefan says, what is Pardes' alter ego? My alter ego? I don't know, someone really crazy. Fluctuating between really crazy and really just normal. Like, either really crazy or really normal. I mean, not normal, like mellow, really mellow. No normal. I don't do normal. JJ says, hi Pardes, new subscriber here. My mother is a Persian Jew like you, and I was curious if your family have ever visited Iran post-revolution. People seem far nicer than the Ayatollah is. Well, what up, JJ? Thank you so much for the comment, and that's cool. That your mom's Persian Jew. I see a lot of that, like, Persian women, Jewish women marrying out. So yeah, some of my family went back. For some reason, I don't think I can go back, even though I really want to, because I share the same last name as my dad. I don't think my dad can, like, I don't know, my last name, it's kind of iffy going to Iran with that last name. But my mom and some of her family, they went back, and they said it was fine. They said it's still the government is kind of a pain in the ass. Like, people are still very afraid of going back and getting arrested, but just at the airport for no reason. But it's fine. Like, Iranians are fine. So people are nice. They're not very crazy. They're, like, a lot more mellow than the government. They're very modern, and they're a lot more modern and pro-education and stuff like that. Gelato? Josh says, I'm going to send you a picture of my friend Simona later. You look just like her. LOL. Jim says, yeah, I want to see that. Jim says January 6, 2021 will be intense. What will be happening then? Okay, so basically that's what it was. People will often do these live streams every night, and I was gonna do this myself, where, like, do these for a while and then go back and delete the old ones, just because I don't want to be embarrassed by the old ones. Like, I don't want people going back and seeing how bad some of the old videos were, and then I get embarrassed. But after a second thought, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep them on here, because I'm not trying to show people that this is, like, so easy, and I don't like it when people are like that. They're just like, oh yeah, like, I woke up like this. Everything, I woke up with this being, like, so perfect. It's not necessarily like that. I didn't wake up with this being perfect. I didn't even know how to use my camera, so why should I try and like, I'm not trying to scare people away from making their own. I want you to have to make your own videos, and that's my goal is the opposite. My goal is for people to start making their own videos also. And I see there are some people who have been live streaming a lot, the same way that I do, and using the same softwares that I use, and that's cool. That's my goal. So I want you to do it. So I'm not going to go back and delete my old live streams and try to make it like, oh, it started off so perfect, because it didn't. Jim says, I'm not a fan of violence, but I'm provoked then But if I'm provoked, then God help a fool who messes with me. Haha. Josh says, if you could go back to any decade and like vacation there for a week, what era would it be? I personally chose the 1920s. If I could go, I don't know. I don't know what I'd go back to. I'd go back to like the 90s, the 80s. The 80s, I think, sounds cool. Particle Heel says, I thought Pardes is a lot different on Twitter when I was there. Why? Why do you think I was different on Twitter? Why did you think I was different on Twitter? Mumbling. Okay. I keep getting my mom is like, Pardes. Yeah, in case you know my mom, she's like, Pardes. So I need to go. But Rex says 2010 was the best year. I was happy with the social climate and an iPhone 4. We didn't have COVID lockdowns. Ha. 1760s, says Nate Mills. What up, Alex? Okay. Well, see you guys later. Like this video. Really like this video. And I want to try and like start something to try and actually help people who, I mean, you don't have to start live streaming and making YouTube videos yourself, but I know a lot of people want to. And so if you want to, DM me, and also give me your ideas, either here or in the comments. Give me ideas of ways that you think that we can somehow band together and create kind of like an online community of people, of creators, basically, like an online community of creators, and that can give each other ideas and help each other grow, regardless of which platform we're on. I know that we're not going to be on YouTube forever. Realistically speaking, a lot of us are going to get deplatformed from YouTube, but it's fine. It's okay. The nice thing about what's happening right now is that there's a lot of other platforms popping up, and it's going to take a while until we get to know all of them, but at least if we have a network of people that are just ours, we can figure out how to use that to our advantage. We can use each other. That sounded like weirdly creepy. Haha. We can figure out how to take advantage of each other. That sounded even worse. We can figure out how to, I don't know. We can figure out how to, like, help each other. Oh, that's the diplomatic way of saying it. We can figure out how to help each other. You don't have to. I mean, only if you are interested in making YouTube videos, or you're trying to and you want to, anyway. If you're trying to create things also, and so hit me up with ideas, even if you're not trying to create things and you're interested in seeing like a community of creators, that just people who are just, hit me up and tell me your ideas. And obviously I'm not gonna like not talk to you just because you're not trying to. Anyway, so that's all. And see you all later. Oh, Aaron says BitChute is working on a live stream program. Thank you for letting me know. And Jim says libtards don't debate, they scream. Wally says, is your ultra-Orthodox family Trump supporters or Democrats? Ultra-Orthodox people are by and large Trump supporters. I rarely meet an ultra-Orthodox person that is not a hardcore Trump supporter. They are Trump supporters. People who try to cover that up are like the people who are like, ooh, Trump is an anti-Semite and Jews don't like him. Those people don't know what they're talking about. Ultra-Orthodox Jews are overwhelmingly pro-Trump. like very, very, very pro-Trump. Yeah, and the people who, if there's someone who isn't, usually they don't talk about it. So, just so you know. Oopsie. Okay. Alrighty. Someone says they have ideas. Hit me up on Insta. Yeah. Like, even if I don't respond right away, even if I don't respond, or if I leave it on read, like, it's not on purpose, I just, like, I'm just doing something and I didn't have, I'm, like, jumping between platforms, like YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, so I might not respond right away, but I'll see your comment, so, and it's gonna help me, so, just, and I'll respond eventually, and don't feel bad to, like, keep sending me ideas. Anyway, Josh says, will you watch a video I made and tell me what you think of it? Send it over. Okay. Yeah, send it over. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Send it to me on Instagram. And we'll see you all tomorrow night. Bye. Thanks everybody, by the way. That was awesome.